My wife announced she'd be spending weekends at her ex-husband's lake house, like she was telling me about a grocery run. Not asking, telling. It's perfectly innocent, she said, stirring her coffee without looking up. He needs help with some renovations, and I know that house better than anyone. The casual tone made my blood run cold. This wasn't a one-time favor. This was a schedule. Every weekend? I asked, keeping my voice level. Not every weekend. Just when he needs help. She finally looked at me, and I saw something I'd never seen before. Defiance. You're not going to make this weird, are you? Weird. Right. My wife spending weekends alone with her ex-husband was perfectly normal, and questioning it made me the problem. I took a sip of my coffee and washed her face carefully. How long has this been going on? It's not going on. It's helping a friend. Her shoulders tensed. Why are you being so dramatic about this? I wasn't being dramatic. I was being awake. For the first time in months, maybe years, I was actually paying attention to what was happening in my own marriage. When did he ask for this help? Last month. Look, I don't understand why you're making this into some big interrogation. She stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the kitchen floor. If you don't trust me spending weekends at my ex-husband's lake house, then you're too insecure for me. There it was, the line in the sand. She wasn't just telling me what she was going to do. She was telling me that questioning it made me weak, insecure, unworthy of her. The manipulation was so smooth, I almost admired it. Almost. You're right about everything, I said quietly. She blinked, clearly expecting a fight. What? You're absolutely right. I am being insecure. I stood up and rinsed my mug in the sink. Do whatever you think is best. The confusion on her face was priceless. She'd loaded the gun expecting me to fire back, but instead I just walked away from the shootout. Oh, okay, good. I'm glad you understand. But I didn't understand. Not yet. That understanding would come later, piece by piece, like a puzzle revealing something ugly underneath. The first piece came that afternoon when I ran into our neighbor at the hardware store. Hey, how's the lake house project going? He asked. Your wife mentioned she's been helping with renovations for a while now. A while now. Not last month. My smile stayed perfectly in place. Going great. She's got good taste in that stuff. The second piece dropped when I checked our joint credit card statement that evening. Gas charges. Lots of them. Dating back 3 months. All at a station exactly halfway to the lake. The pattern was clear once I bothered to look for it. Every Friday afternoon, gas. Every Sunday evening, gas. Like clockwork. I sat in my home office, staring at the screen, doing the math. 3 months of weekend trips. 3 months of lies about when this started. 3 months of me being too trusting, too comfortable, too stupid to notice my own wife had been living a double life. The third piece came at dinner with another couple the following weekend. She'd gone to her renovation project again, of course. It's so sweet how she's helping her ex fix up that place, the wife said. She talks about it all the time at book club. Says they're making real progress. Book club, where she apparently discussed her weekend activities with everyone except her actual husband. I nodded and smiled and filed it away with everything else I was learning about my marriage. That night, I sat alone in our bedroom, looking at photos on her phone while she showered. I told myself I was just being paranoid, just being that insecure husband she'd accused me of being. But paranoid husbands sometimes find exactly what they're afraid to find. The photos were innocent enough. Work on the deck, new paint in the kitchen, always the two of them together, always smiling, always looking comfortable in a way that made my stomach turn. But it wasn't the photos that got to me. It was the timestamps. They weren't just weekend renovation sessions. There were Wednesday afternoon photos, Thursday evening shots, times when she'd told me she was at book club, or shopping, or having lunch with friends. I set the phone back exactly where I'd found it and listened to her humming in the shower. She sounded happy, happier than she'd sounded at home in months. The final piece came Monday morning when I called the book club president, someone I'd known for years through various social functions. Oh, she hasn't been to book club in ages, she said cheerfully. Maybe 2 months? We miss her, but she said she's been really busy with some project. I thanked her and hung up. Then I sat in my car in the office parking lot for 10 minutes, letting the full picture settle into place. My wife had been lying to me for months. She'd been spending time with her ex-husband multiple times per week, not just weekends. She'd been telling our entire social circle about it while keeping me in the dark. And when I'd finally noticed and questioned it, she'd made me the villain for being insecure. The beautiful thing about being called insecure is that it gives you permission to act insecure. If I was going to be the paranoid, untrusting husband, I might as well do it right. I spent my lunch break that day researching private investigators, then decided against it. I didn't need to pay someone to confirm what I already knew. I needed to decide what I was going to do about it. That evening, she came home glowing from another renovation session. She kissed my cheek and asked about my day like nothing had changed. Like she hadn't just spent the afternoon with another man while her husband sat at work like an idiot. Good day, I said. Productive. She smiled and went to shower off the evidence of her productivity. I opened my laptop and started browsing real estate listings. If she wanted to play house with her ex-husband, that was her choice. But I was done being the fool who stayed home while she lived her real life somewhere else. I bookmarked 3 lake properties within 50 miles. All of them bigger, better, and more expensive than anything her ex could afford. Then I started making calls to real estate agents. 2 could play this game, but only one of us was going to win. Playing the perfect husband became my new full-time job. When she announced her next weekend at the lake house, I smiled and told her to drive safely. When she mentioned they were making amazing progress on the deck, I said that sounded wonderful. When she criticized me for watching too much football instead of being more productive, I just nodded and changed the channel. She was getting exactly what she wanted. A compliant husband who didn't ask questions, didn't make demands, didn't create drama. What she didn't realize was that compliance and surrender are 2 very different things. The real estate agent called Tuesday morning while she was at her actual job. I've got 3 properties lined up that match your criteria, he said. When can we start looking? Friday afternoon, I told him. While my wife was preparing for another weekend of renovations, I'd be shopping for lake houses of my own. That same day, I ran into her best friend at the grocery store. We'd always gotten along well, but recently she'd seemed distant whenever the 3 of us were together. Now I understood why. She looked genuinely uncomfortable when she saw me, like she wanted to disappear behind the cereal aisle. Hey, she said, her voice strained. How are things? Good. You. I kept my tone light, friendly. No reason to make this awkward for her when the awkwardness wasn't her fault. Fine. Just, She gestured vaguely at nothing. Busy. I could have walked away. Should have walked away. But something in her expression stopped me. Guilt. The same guilt I'd seen in my wife's face when she thought I wasn't looking. Everything okay? She glanced around like she was afraid someone might overhear us in the produce section. I think what she's doing is wrong. There it was. Confirmation from someone who actually gave a damn about my feelings. I appreciate that. I've told her. Multiple times. But she just says you 2 have an understanding. She looked at me directly for the first time. Do you have an understanding? I could have lied. Could have protected my wife's reputation and my own pride by pretending everything was fine. Instead, I told the truth. Not the kind she thinks we do. Her shoulders sagged with relief. I was hoping you'd say that. I've been losing sleep over this whole thing. That made 2 of us. We talked for another few minutes, carefully dancing around the specifics, but both of us understanding exactly what we weren't saying. She was disgusted with my wife's behavior. She felt guilty for keeping the secret. She'd been watching me play the role of the oblivious husband while knowing exactly how not oblivious I actually was. If you ever want to talk, she said as we parted ways. I mean really talk, not just pretend everything's fine. I'm around. I thanked her and went home to my empty house. My wife was working late, or at least that's what her text said. Given everything I'd learned recently, working late could mean anything. Friday afternoon, I toured the first lake property. The agent was a sharp woman in her 50s who cut straight to the point. Budget, I told her. Her eyebrows went up slightly. That's a serious budget for a lake house. You planning to live there year-round? Eventually. It wasn't exactly a lie. I might be living there sooner than I'd originally planned. The first house was good. The second was better. The third one made me stop walking and just stare. It sat on 5 acres of prime lakefront, with a dock that could handle serious boats and a main house that looked like something from a magazine. The price was steep, but not impossible. This one's been on the market for 3 months, the agent said. Owner's motivated to sell. I think we could negotiate. I walked through it twice, taking pictures with my phone. The kitchen was gorgeous. The master suite had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the water. The guest rooms were spacious and well-appointed. The whole place radiated success and confidence. I'm interested, I told her. but I need to discuss financing options. She handed me her card. Call me Monday. We'll make it happen. That weekend, while my wife was supposedly installing new cabinet hardware with her ex-husband, I researched property financing and partnership agreements. By Sunday evening, I had a plan. A good one. My wife came home Sunday night looking refreshed and happy. She kissed my cheek and showed me photos on her phone. Look what we got done this weekend. The kitchen is really coming together. I looked at the photos of her and another man working side by side, both of them smiling like they shared some wonderful secret. Looks great, I said. You two work well together. We always did. She said it without thinking, then caught herself. I mean, we have similar taste in renovations. Sure, renovations. Monday morning, I called the real estate agent. Then I called my wife's best friend. Remember what you said about wanting to really talk? She met me for lunch at a place across town where we wouldn't run into anyone we knew. I laid out my situation honestly, not looking for sympathy, just stating facts. My wife was spending multiple days per week with her ex-husband. She was lying about it. She'd made it clear that questioning her behavior made me the problem, not her. I've been looking at lake properties, I told her. I'm thinking about making an investment. Her eyes lit up for the first time since I'd known her. Really? That sounds amazing. The thing is, it's a big property, bigger than I need by myself. I've been thinking about finding a co-owner, someone who shares the costs and the responsibilities. She leaned forward, interested. Like a partnership? Exactly like a partnership. I showed her the photos on my phone. What do you think? She scrolled through them slowly, her expression growing more excited with each picture. This is incredible. How much are we talking about? I told her. She didn't flinch. I've got savings. And my divorce settlement from last year. Her own divorce had been finalized 6 months ago. Her ex-husband had been cheating with his secretary. I've been looking for a good investment. We talked numbers, logistics, and timelines. By the time lunch was over, we had a handshake agreement. She'd handle half the down payment and half the monthly expenses. I'd handle the other half, plus the legal work to set up the partnership properly. We'd split usage time and maintenance responsibilities. There's just one thing, she said as we prepared to leave. What are you going to tell her? I smiled. Nothing. Not yet. Let's get moved in first. Then we'll see how secure she's feeling. That afternoon, I called the real estate agent and made an offer. A good offer, but not my best offer. I wanted room to negotiate, but I also wanted the house. By Wednesday, we had a deal. By Friday, the partnership paperwork was signed. By the following Monday, we were officially co-owners of the most beautiful lake house in the county. My wife came home from her Tuesday book club meeting, which I now knew was actually another afternoon at her ex's place. She was humming again, that same happy tune that used to make me smile. Good day, I asked. Very good. We got the new light fixtures installed. She showed me more photos of her and her renovation partner admiring their handiwork. It's really starting to feel like home. I nodded sympathetically. That's wonderful. I'm glad you found a project that makes you so happy. She squeezed my arm affectionately. Thanks for understanding. I know it's been an adjustment. An adjustment. That's what she called lying to me for months and spending half her free time with another man. An adjustment. No problem at all, I said. I've been working on some projects of my own, actually. Oh, like what? I smiled. You'll see. The closing went smoother than I'd expected. My new business partner arrived 15 minutes early, looking professional in a navy blazer and carrying a leather folder with all her paperwork organized. We sat across from each other at the long conference table, signing document after document while the real estate attorney explained easements and property rights. Congratulations, the attorney said as we finished the last signature. You're now the proud owners of one of the finest properties on the lake. She smiled at me across the table. Partners. Partners, I agreed. We drove out to the property separately, meeting in the circular driveway that curved around a mature oak tree. The house looked even better than it had during the tour. Late afternoon sunlight reflected off the lake, casting everything in golden light. I can't believe this is real, she said, standing next to me on the front steps. 6 months ago, I was crying in a lawyer's office, and now I'm co-owner of a lake house. I unlocked the front door and gestured for her to go first. Your divorce settlement? Best thing that bastard ever did for me. She laughed, but there was an edge to it. Turns out cheating on your wife with multiple women can get expensive. We walked through the house together, no longer potential buyers, but actual owners. The space felt different now. Ours. She ran her hand along the granite countertop in the kitchen, examining the appliances with the eye of someone who actually planned to use them. I love to cook, she said. This kitchen is a dream. My wife barely uses ours. The words came out before I could stop them. She gave me a sympathetic look. Too busy with her renovation projects? We both knew what those projects really were. It felt good to talk to someone who understood the situation without me having to spell it out. No pretending, no careful word choices, no walking on eggshells. Something like that. I opened the refrigerator, checking that the sellers had left it clean and empty as promised. What's your timeline for moving stuff in? This weekend, if that works for you. I've got some furniture in storage that would be perfect for the guest rooms. She paused at the sliding glass door that led to the deck. What about you? When are you planning to tell her? I joined her at the door, looking out at the water. When the timing's right. Which means, when it'll have maximum impact. I slid the door open and stepped onto the deck. The wood was solid under our feet, professionally built and well-maintained. She spent months building her perfect little secret life. I want her to understand what that actually costs. She followed me outside, leaning against the deck railing. You're not just buying a lake house. You're making a statement. Exactly. The late afternoon breeze carried the smell of water and pine trees. She told me I was too insecure to handle her weekend trips. So I decided to become very secure. Secure enough to buy my own lake house with a partner who actually respects me. She turned to face me, her expression serious. This isn't just about revenge, is it? I thought about that. Was it revenge? Or was it something else? It's about self-respect. She's been treating me like I'm disposable, like I'm lucky to have her even when she's spending half her time with someone else. I'm done feeling grateful for scraps. Good. Her voice was firm. You deserve better than scraps. We spent the next hour walking the property, discussing practical matters. Where to put the outdoor furniture, how to split the utility bills, whether to hire a landscaping service or handle the yard work ourselves. Normal conversations between normal partners making normal plans. It felt strange, talking to someone who treated me like an equal instead of an inconvenience. Someone who asked for my opinion and actually listened to the answer. Someone who assumed I was capable of making good decisions instead of questioning every choice I made. There's a boat launch about a mile down the shore, she said as we walked along the waterline. The previous owner mentioned it when I asked about lake access for guests. You boat. I'm learning. My ex refused to teach me because he said I'd probably crash into something expensive. She kicked at a small stone, sending it skipping across the water. Turns out there are other people willing to be more patient. The contrast wasn't lost on me. Her ex-husband had been condescending and dismissive. My wife was condescending and dismissive. Maybe that's why we understood each other so well. I've got a friend with a pontoon boat, I said. I'll introduce you. He's a good teacher, and he's never met an expensive thing he was afraid to crash into. She laughed, a genuine sound that carried across the water. I'd like that. We walked back toward the house as the sun began to set behind the trees. The windows glowed with warm light from the lamps we'd turned on during our tour. It looked welcoming, lived in, like a real home instead of just a house. When do you think you'll start spending time here? She asked as we reached the deck. Soon. Maybe next weekend. Next weekend, when my wife would be at her own lake house with her own partner, working on their own projects. What about you? I was thinking the same thing. She pulled her phone out of her purse and started taking pictures of the sunset over the water. I want to document everything. The whole experience. I watched her snap photo after photo. Her face lit up with genuine excitement. When was the last time my wife had looked that happy about something we were doing together? When was the last time she'd wanted to document anything that included me? Send me copies of those, I said. I want to remember this day. She nodded, still taking pictures. The day we became lake house owners. The day everything changed. By the time we locked up and headed to our separate cars, we had a plan. She'd bring furniture this weekend while I handled getting the utilities transferred and the security system activated. We'd meet Sunday afternoon to start moving in the basics. Nothing fancy, just enough to make the place livable. Thank you, she said as we stood beside our cars in the fading light, for letting me be part of this. I know you could have done it alone. I could have, but I didn't want to. Doing it alone would have been about proving a point. Doing it with a partner who respected me was about building something better. Thank you for saying yes. This is going to be good. Yes, it is. She got into her car, then rolled down the window. See you Sunday? See you Sunday. I drove home through the gathering darkness, taking the long way to give myself time to think. My wife's car was in the driveway, which meant she was home from wherever she'd actually spent her Tuesday evening. The kitchen light was on, and I could see her silhouette moving around inside. She looked up when I walked in, her face bright with curiosity. There you are. I was starting to wonder where you'd gotten to. Just running errands. I hung my keys on the hook by the door. How was book club? Good. We're reading this fascinating novel about second chances. She didn't even flinch at the lie anymore. What kind of errands kept you out so late? I looked at her standing there in our kitchen, asking about my day like a concerned wife while living a double life with her ex-husband. The irony was so thick I could taste it. Investment stuff, I said. Boring financial planning. She nodded, already losing interest. Well, I'm glad you're taking care of that. We should probably start thinking more seriously about our future. Our future, right. The future where she spent weekends with her ex while I stayed home being grateful for her attention during the week. That future was over, even if she didn't know it yet. Already on it, I said, and I was. Saturday morning, my wife packed her overnight bag with the same routine she'd perfected over months of practice. I'll probably be back late Sunday, she said, folding clothes with military precision. We're tackling the master bathroom this weekend. Sounds like a big project. I sipped my coffee and watched her pack expensive lingerie for a renovation weekend. The audacity was almost impressive. It is, but we work well together. She zipped the bag closed and kissed my cheek. Try not to mope around the house all weekend. Mope. Right. I had other plans. An hour after she left, I met my partner at the lake house. She'd rented a truck and brought enough furniture to transform the place from empty shell to comfortable retreat. We spent the morning moving a sectional sofa, dining table, and bedroom sets into the main rooms. This stuff is beautiful, I said, helping her position a leather armchair near the fireplace. Your ex had good taste in furniture, at least. My taste, she corrected. He just paid for it. One of the few smart investments he ever made. We worked together efficiently, no drama or arguments about placement. When I suggested moving the coffee table closer to the sofa, she tried it and agreed it looked better. When she recommended hanging artwork in the hallway, I grabbed the hammer and picture hangers. This is nice, she said during our lunch break, sitting on the deck overlooking the water. Working with someone who actually listens. Revolutionary concept, I agreed. Sunday afternoon, we made our first Costco run as official lake house partners. Bulk paper towels, cleaning supplies, frozen steaks for the grill, wine for the rack we'd installed in the kitchen. Normal domestic tasks that felt extraordinary because they involved mutual respect and shared goals. We should take pictures, she said as we arranged groceries in the pantry. Document the transformation. She was right. I pulled out my phone and started capturing everything. The kitchen stocked with food we'd chosen together. The living room arranged for maximum comfort and lake views. The deck set up for entertaining with new outdoor furniture and a gas grill. Get one of us by the water, she suggested. Proof that we actually did this. We took turns photographing each other, then figured out the timer function to get shots of both of us together. Partners, co-owners, two people who'd built something good together while our exes were off playing house elsewhere. These are perfect, she said, scrolling through the images. Mind if I post a few? Go ahead. It's your house too. She selected 3 photos. One of the stunning kitchen, one of the sunset view from the deck, and one of us standing together by the water with the house visible behind us. The captions were simple and factual. New lake house adventure begins. Perfect partners for the perfect property. Sometimes the best investment is in yourself. I watched her post them to Instagram and Facebook, tagging our location and adding hashtags about lake life and new beginnings. Within minutes, likes and comments started appearing. Friends congratulating us, asking about the property, wanting to know when they could visit. Your phone's going crazy, she observed as my notifications exploded. I glanced at the screen. Dozens of messages from mutual friends, family members, and coworkers. All positive, all excited for us. Several people asking if we were planning a housewarming party. Actually, I said, that's not a bad idea. A party. Her eyes lit up. Really? When? Next weekend. Give people time to plan, but not too much time to overthink it. Next weekend, when my wife would be at her renovation project again. Perfect timing. I love it. I'll handle food and decorations if you handle drinks and music. We spent the rest of Sunday planning. Guest list, menu, entertainment. She had excellent ideas about everything from appetizers to playlist suggestions. We divided responsibilities based on our strengths and preferences, each of us contributing equally to something we were both excited about. This is going to be amazing, she said as we locked up Sunday evening. I can't wait. Neither could I. My wife's next renovation weekend was going to coincide with the social event of the season at our lake house. While she was installing bathroom fixtures with her ex-husband, I'd be hosting our entire social circle at a property that would make her little renovation project look like a shabby cabin. See you next Friday for setup, I said. Wouldn't miss it. I drove home thinking about timing, impact, and consequences. My wife would see the party photos eventually, probably while she was still at her ex's place, scrolling through social media between renovation tasks. She'd see our friends having the time of their lives at a lake house she didn't even know existed, hosted by a husband she thought was home alone feeling sorry for himself. The house was dark when I arrived. My wife wasn't due back until late. I opened my laptop and started creating the party invitation. Professional design, gorgeous photos of the property, compelling copy about celebrating new beginnings. Join us for a housewarming celebration at our new lake retreat, I wrote. Food, drinks, and good friends in a stunning lakefront setting. Come see what we've built together. I sent it to 43 people. Family, friends, neighbors, co-workers. Everyone except my wife, who would be busy with her own lakefront activities that weekend. My phone buzzed with acceptances within the hour. People were excited, intrigued, and impressed. Several asked about bringing guests. A few wanted to know more about the partnership arrangement, clearly seeing the business potential. When my wife came home Sunday night, she was tired but happy. Productive weekend, she announced, showing me photos of tile work and paint samples. We're really making progress. That's great, I said, closing my laptop. Sounds like you two have found your rhythm. We have. It's nice working with someone who appreciates good craftsmanship. She kissed my forehead. What did you do with yourself? Little of this, little of that. Productive weekend for me too. She smiled and headed upstairs for a shower. I reopened my laptop and scrolled through the party RSVPs. 41 confirmed guests so far, with more responses coming in. Next weekend was going to be very productive indeed. Friday afternoon, my wife packed her bag with the same practiced routine. Big weekend ahead, she said, folding a sundress I'd bought her for our anniversary. We're finally tackling the master suite renovation. Sounds ambitious. I watched her pack like she was heading to a resort instead of a construction project. It is, but we make a good team. She grabbed her makeup bag. What are your plans? Quiet weekend. Maybe catch up on some projects around here. She kissed my cheek and headed out, humming that same happy tune. The moment her car disappeared around the corner, I called my partner. Game time, I said. I'm already here setting up tables. The caterer arrives in 2 hours. By 6 o'clock, our lake house was transformed. White lights strung along the deck, cocktail tables positioned for optimal lake views, a full bar set up on the patio, and enough food to feed a small army. The house looked like something from a lifestyle magazine. This is incredible, said the first guest to arrive, my sister and her husband. When did you buy this place? Recently. We wanted to keep it quiet until everything was ready. I handed them drinks and watched their faces as they took in the property. Pure amazement. More guests arrived in waves. Neighbors, co-workers, old friends, family members. Everyone brought the same expression of shock and delight. Nobody had expected this. Nobody had seen it coming. You two must be so proud, said our former neighbor, raising her glass to me and my partner. What a beautiful investment. Thank you. We think so too. My partner smiled, comfortable in her role as co-host. She moved through the crowd effortlessly, making sure everyone had drinks and pointing out features of the property. How long have you been planning this? Asked my brother, gesturing at the house with his beer bottle. Few months. We wanted to get it right before going public. Smart move. This place is going to be worth a fortune in 5 years. The party hit its stride around 8 o'clock. 43 people spread across the deck, patio, and yard, all of them having the time of their lives. Someone had connected their phone to our sound system, filling the air with music that mixed perfectly with laughter and conversation. Photo time, my partner announced, gathering everyone on the deck for a group shot. We need to document this historic moment. She set up the camera timer and ran to join the group. 45 people smiling in front of the most beautiful lake house in the county, with the sunset painting everything golden behind us. Perfect lighting, perfect timing, perfect moment. That's going straight to social media, she whispered as we checked the photos. All of them, every single one. We took dozens more throughout the evening. Small groups by the water, couples posing with drinks, action shots of people laughing and celebrating. The kind of photos that would make anyone scrolling through social media stop and think, I wish I was there. Your wife's missing an amazing party, said my coworker around 10 o'clock. Where is she tonight? Working on a project, I replied. She's very dedicated to her commitments. He nodded, accepting the explanation without question. Everyone knew my wife was often busy with various activities. Nobody questioned why she wasn't here to celebrate our new investment. As the evening wound down, guests started asking about future gatherings. When's the next party? Can we rent this place for events? Are you taking bookings for family reunions? We'll definitely do this again, my partner assured everyone. This house was made for entertaining. The last guests left around midnight, all of them drunk on good wine and good vibes. My partner and I cleaned up efficiently, working together to restore the property to its pristine condition. That was perfect, she said, loading the dishwasher. Better than I imagined. The photos turned out great too. I scrolled through the images on my phone. Party shots, property shots, host shots. A complete documentary of an evening my wife had missed entirely. Ready for the grand reveal? My partner asked, her finger hovering over the post button on her phone. Do it. She uploaded everything at once. 23 photos with captions about new beginnings, perfect partnerships, and unforgettable nights. Tag location, tag guests, tag the hell out of everything to maximize visibility. My phone exploded with notifications within seconds. Likes, comments, shares, messages. Everyone wanting to know more about the property, the party, the partnership. The response was overwhelming and immediate. Check this out, my partner said, showing me her screen. 200 likes in 5 minutes. Your ex seeing any of this? Probably not. He's not on social media much. She paused, then smiled wickedly. But hers definitely will. My wife was extremely active on social platforms. She checked Instagram obsessively, especially late at night when she couldn't sleep. She'd see these photos eventually, probably tonight, while lying in bed at her renovation project. What do you think she'll do? My partner asked. Panic. I poured myself one last drink and sat on the deck, looking out at the water. Complete, total panic. Good. She should panic. She's been taking you for granted while building a fantasy life with someone else. My partner joined me on the deck chairs. Now she gets to see what it looks like when someone actually appreciates you. We sat in comfortable silence, listening to the water lap against the shore. The house behind us was perfect, the evening had been flawless, and somewhere 50 miles away, my wife was about to discover that her secure little world had just shifted dramatically. Thank you, I said, for all of this, for being a real partner. Thank you for showing me what that looks like. My phone buzzed with another notification, then another. The photos were spreading beyond our immediate social circle, being shared and commented on by people I barely knew. The lake house housewarming was becoming a viral sensation in our extended community. Perfect timing, perfect execution, perfect impact. Tomorrow would bring consequences, but tonight had been absolutely perfect. My wife's key turned in the lock at 11:47 p.m. Sunday. I know the exact time because I was sitting at the kitchen table with divorce papers spread in front of me when she walked in. We need to talk, she said, her voice shaking. Do we? I didn't look up from the documents. I saw the photos. All of them. She dropped her overnight bag by the door. When did you buy a lake house? 3 weeks ago. Right after you told me I was too insecure to handle your weekend renovation projects. With her, you bought a house with my best friend. Former best friend. She doesn't associate with liars anymore. I finally looked up. Her face was pale, her hands trembling. Funny how that works. This is insane. You can't just buy property without discussing it with your wife. I laughed. Actually laughed. Really? That's your position? After months of secret trips to your ex-husband's place, you're upset I didn't consult you about my investment decisions. That's completely different. You're right. It is different. My lake house actually exists for the purpose I claim it does. I stood up, gathering the papers. Your renovation project is just an excuse to play house with another man. Nothing happened between us. I don't care if something happened. You chose him over me months ago. I'm just making it official. She moved closer, desperation creeping into her voice. Look, I know this looks bad, but we can work through this. We can go to counseling. We can figure this out. There's nothing to figure out. You made your choice when you decided I was too insecure to deserve honesty in my own marriage. I headed toward the stairs. The divorce papers are on the table. Your lawyer can contact mine. You can't be serious. I stopped and turned back. Dead serious. You wanted freedom to spend weekends with your ex-husband? You've got it. Permanently. But the house, our life together, everything we built. What we built. You built a relationship with another man while lying to me for months. I built a lake house with someone who actually respects me. I shrugged. Seems like we both got what we wanted. This is all because I hurt your feelings. This is because you showed me exactly how little I mattered to you. So I stopped mattering to you. I continued up the stairs. I'll be staying at the lake house until you move out. Take your time, but not too much time. You're being ridiculous. She's using you to get back at me for something. I paused on the landing. She's not using me for anything. She's treating me like an equal partner in a legitimate business arrangement. Maybe you should try it sometime. I love you. No, you don't. You love having a backup plan while you explore other options. I reached our bedroom door. But backup plans work both ways. She followed me upstairs, still pleading her case. We've been together for 8 years. That has to count for something. It does count. It counts as 8 years of me being faithful while you figured out whether you wanted to be married or not. I started packing a suitcase. Turns out you didn't. I never said I didn't want to be married. You didn't have to say it. You showed it every weekend for 3 months. I packed efficiently, taking only what I needed. Actions speak louder than words. So that's it. You're just leaving. I left months ago. I just didn't tell you. I zipped the suitcase closed. Tonight's just making it official. My phone buzzed with a text from my partner. Safe to come back yet? Or should I give you more time? I showed my wife the message. See? That's what consideration looks like. Someone actually caring about my well-being instead of just managing me. I care about your well-being. You care about your convenience. There's a difference. I headed back downstairs with my suitcase. The mortgage is in my name, by the way. You'll want to make other arrangements. You can't just kick me out of my own house. Watch me. I grabbed my laptop and car keys. You've got 30 days. More than enough time to move in with your renovation partner permanently. She followed me to the garage, still talking, still pleading, still trying to negotiate. But there was nothing left to negotiate. She'd spent months building a life that didn't include me. Now she could live it without me. This isn't over, she called as I backed out of the driveway. Yes, it is. I drove to the lake house through empty Sunday night roads, my phone lighting up with messages from friends who'd seen the divorce announcement I'd posted after leaving. Support, sympathy, invitations to stay with various people until I got settled. But I was already settled. I had a beautiful house with a partner who valued my input. I had friends who respected my decisions. I had a life that didn't require me to beg for basic consideration. My partner was waiting on the deck when I arrived, 2 glasses of wine already poured. How did it go? Exactly as expected. She's shocked that actions have consequences. I joined her at the railing, looking out over the moonlit water. But it's done. Any regrets? I thought about that. 8 years of marriage, gone. Mutual friends choosing sides. Financial complications. Legal procedures. A complete life overhaul at 42 years old. None whatsoever. Good. You deserve better than someone who takes you for granted. She raised her glass. To new beginnings. To knowing your worth. We clinked glasses and drank wine under the stars. 2 people who'd built something real together while our exes played fantasy games elsewhere. The water was calm, the house was perfect, and for the first time in months, I felt completely at peace. My phone buzzed with one last text from my wife. I hope you're happy. I looked at the lake house, and my partner, at the life I'd created for myself. I replied, I am. Then I turned off my phone and enjoyed the silence.